Hey, everybody, this is Jimmy Smith. Welcome to another episode of the Silent Sales Machine Radio podcast. Today, I'm super excited to bring to you an interview that I had with another success story from the Replenish Facebook group and somebody that's been in the My Silent Team community for a bit of time now. Her name is Stacey Anderson, and she recently posted in the Replenish Facebook group that since March of 2020, she has gone over $100,000 in sales. So in 7 months, she went from $0 to $100,000 total in sales, utilizing the Replenish model and also using it in a wholesale basis. And what's really cool is she's also done this internationally on the Canadian marketplace. And so today we're going to go through a lot of the things that she's done that's brought her success, things from being persistent and patient to adding employees and people that work under her and starting to outsource pieces of her business to help her grow and continue to grow, and also building relationships with some wholesale suppliers that she's found using this method. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the episode with Stacey Anderson. All right. Hey, Stacey, thank you so much for being on the Silent Sales Machine Radio podcast. Excited to have you on.
Oh, I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
Awesome. Well, yeah. So the reason I wanted to reach out to you is in the Replenish Facebook group with the course, right? We've got a Facebook group, and in that group, it was about a week and a half ago, you posted some results that you've had very quickly, starting in March of 2020. And so I wanted to have you on to kind of discuss that journey. So tell us a little bit about why you got into Amazon and specifically the Replenish model.
Okay, sure. Well, I actually started on Amazon 2 years ago. I started with a private label product, and it did okay. I wouldn't say that it was an enormous success, but I think I was selling, 3 to 5 a day, which I think was not too bad. And it went quite well for quite a while, but then, the COVID thing started to happen, and it kind of affected my sales because it was like a party kind of related item.
Okay.
And anyway, so right about that time, it was late fall, and I started to look up on the PAC course. I'm like, I heard something about this Replenish, and Jimmy Smith has a book. So I got your book, and then I was reading the book like on my night shifts at work. And then I went through the whole process and then was doing the over the shoulder on the PAC course. Mm-hmm. And learned about the Replenish model. And I thought, wow, this is really great if it works. I wasn't really sure.
Right.
So especially since I'm from Canada, I live on Vancouver Island in British Columbia. And anyway, so I went through that process, and then it's kind of a funny story. Do you want me to continue?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, before we do, I want to see, because I'm looking at your post right now. I pulled it up. So you posted on October 6th that since March 6th, 2020, after you sent your first shipment, that was when you sent the first one. Since then, you've sold 93.27 thousand Canadian dollars, right?
Canadian, yes.
Yes. And since March 6th, so what is that? About 6-7 months, I guess. 7 months. You sold $93,000 in the Canadian marketplace, which is astonishing. I mean, that's actually a huge number.
Yesterday we hit just over the 100,000.
Wow, that's awesome. That's incredible. Yeah. So I'm excited to talk to you about it. So go ahead and get back into your story, just so people have some context for where you're at in your business. But yeah.
Okay. So basically, when I started, I was doing your process and watching the videos and trying to find Replenish, and I was spending hours and hours on the computer, and I wasn't finding anything. And I kept going on the Replenish Facebook group, and everybody kept saying, if you just keep going and don't give up, you'll start to find some stuff. You'll start to get a knack for it, or, your brain kind of adjusts to what you're looking for. So that's what I did, as I just kept looking, and I started to find some, and I get so excited. And then I realized that, I should really get into groceries. So I contacted some local food suppliers, and there's not very many here. I mean, Vancouver Island, the whole island is, I think it's about 800,000 people total, but it's really spread out.
Okay.
And anyway, so I contacted a few suppliers through email, And one of them called me back and said, "Oh, you're selling on Amazon. You'll never make any money. You'll never go anywhere with this." I said, "Okay, thank you. Bye-bye." And then another one called me back and said, "Oh yeah, sure. No problem. Here's our catalog." And it was so easy. And I'm like, wow, everyone's saying it's so hard. I guess I just lucked out. But anyway, so then I ended up finding my first product. I just looked through their catalog, and to tell you the truth, there really wasn't a lot of profitable items in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I did end up finding one that I could make, $6 or $8 per item on. And I was like, okay, well, that's, 60% ROI. That's okay. And so I ordered just one case of that so that I could get the 10 items to get my invoice. Mm-hmm. To get ungated in grocery. So I got ungated in grocery, and from the time I started sending that product in, I could not keep it on the shelf. Oh, wow. And it's still that way to this day. I think I sell like 4,000 a month just in that one product. It's crazy.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, and then within a few days of that happening, because then I was like, okay, well, I'm on the computer trying to find more products because this company I got ungated with doesn't really have any other profitable products that were already on Amazon. So within a few days of that, I received another call from the other wholesale distributor that I had contacted, and it was the CEO. And he said, "I'd like to meet with you. I'm interested in your online business." Okay. I said, okay, sure. So I go down to the office with my notebook, which actually was completely empty. Okay. But I looked really businesslike. That's all that matters.
Right.
And I sat down with him and his vice president and told them all about Amazon and basically that I was just this tiny little dot in this big sea of people, and I was learning and, willing to listen to them and to be able to grow. Mm. And basically, I guess it went really well because he offered me a line of credit. Wow. So I could use his grocery, and he has about 17,000 SKUs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I had this wholesale list, but then, and it was great. And we've started this great partnership together sort of thing, but not really. He's like, "I don't want any profits. You just use the line of credit and you just grow your business. I want to mentor you and help you grow."
That's awesome.
So it was, I thank God. It was just absolutely a blessing. And then, so I just kind of continued on. I started with the shipments in March and carried on, and I couldn't. Wow. I work shift work too. I work 4 on, 4 off.
Okay.
So 12-hour shifts, 2 days, 2 nights, and then 4 off. Wow. And I'm a care aide. I take care of disabled folks.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And so on my days off, I was just Amazon. And then, you know what? It's really addictive. It just keeps, I can't sleep because I'm thinking about Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. I get it for sure. It's been 5 years of less sleep because I'm thinking about Amazon in a good way, right?
In a good way.
Yeah, exactly. That's really awesome. So you said a couple of things there. And before we kind of keep talking, I want to break down a couple of things for people that are brand new. We talk about replens a lot on the podcast and in, the My Silent Team group and obviously in the replens groups. But for people that don't know what replens are, they are something that from a seller perspective is something that you can purchase from one place and then sell them regularly and consistently over and over. So a lot of people automatically think of grocery products because we buy those things regularly. But for those that are new, it's also from a seller perspective. It could be a hammer that I sell, one to Stacey, one to my parents, one to my friend, but I'm as a seller selling that product over and over again. And so the replens course that Stacey took, we'll put all the links to that in the show notes, as well as to the book, which is really cool that you bought my book on that. So yeah, that's really exciting. And that's called Side Hustle to Full-Time Income, by the way, for anybody that's wanting to look that up. And there's an ebook and a regular book as well. But so yeah, that's the basics of the replens model. And Stacey, it's really awesome to see what you've done, so fast. And you said a couple of things there that you were persistent, right? I want people to understand that, you've grown to $100,000 in 7 months of doing replens. However, you were extremely persistent at the beginning of that, and that hard work paid off. So that's awesome that you've gotten that relationship. Was that relationship you got? Is that with the person that originally told you no? Is that what you were saying?
No,
Oh, it's a
no,
different.
it's a
Okay,
different one.
awesome.
Yes. Yeah, he actually said that he was trying to figure out a way to get his products to sell online since
Mhm.
October, and he had put it on the side of his desk because he had researched, building a website and all that sort of thing, and
Okay.
it was just too expensive and too big of an endeavor for him at the time. So he said this was perfect.
Wow, that's awesome. So you've turned the replens model, which is typically buying from a store and selling online, into a wholesale model, which it works perfectly well that way as well. Because are all of your products from wholesale distributors?
Not all of them. So most of them are, but I think due to the COVID crisis, we've had some manufacturer shortages.
Okay.
It's hard to find some products that are selling really well. So
Mm.
I've found myself going and getting, a Walmart rewards card and and going and buying some of the stuff that I can't get from my supplier.
Okay.
So I have somebody that shops for me sometimes, probably once every couple of weeks. She'll go out and get whatever I need because I live in kind of a bigger city. Well, it's not that big, 110,000.
Yeah.
And she lives in a town about 40 minutes away that's only about 8,000. And their stock supplies are much higher than they
Okay.
are where I live. So for the same product, you can get 25 of them over there and only two of them here.
Okay. So you've got a team of people then. So I guess tell me a little bit about your team. How many people do you have on it? Because
So,
that's really fast to get a lot of people working with you.
yeah. So, well, I've decided, first of all, that I'm putting all of my profits back into the business to grow it as fast as I can.
Okay.
So I guess it was about late July, early August, I interviewed like 10 or 12 VAs in the Philippines.
Okay.
And I found a really, really great one. And he does all of my product sourcing for me. So
Okay.
I started him out at, I think 20 hours a week, and now he's at 30. And actually, he's going to go up to 40 here pretty quick.
Wow.
But what he does is he spends all day going through my wholesale list and reverse sourcing. So he'll punch in the keywords of whatever the title is of that product into Amazon and see if there's a listing for it, or a 2-pack or a 3-pack. And then he'll put those into a spreadsheet for me. And so he's been doing that. And if it wasn't for having that VA, there's no way I could have grown this quickly, because we're adding 8 to 10 SKUs every week on our shipments.
Oh, wow.
I go through what he sends me and see, and most of the stuff that I choose is between 1% and 2% of the top category in grocery.
Okay.
And other than that, sometimes I'll do 3 or 4%, especially if it's like a kind of a niche product that really nobody's had in stock for a long time, because
Yeah.
you can't always trust the ranks or the no ranks in Canada. There's a lot of keep charts with no rank at all. And I've bought products and they sell. I'm not saying they sell a whole bunch, but they
Yeah.
do start to sell, and it picks up over time.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. So your VA that's been working for you, so did you have to train him on doing that type of sourcing for bundles and stuff, or was he
I did, but it didn't take very long.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, and so again, for anybody that doesn't know, part of the replens model is looking for products that you aren't necessarily searching by UPC. So a lot of sellers, especially if they got a wholesale account, would take that 17,000 SKUs and they'd run it through some software and see what UPCs pull back that match the product exactly. And part of the replens model is by manually typing in what the product is and looking for bundles. And I would assume that that's been your main revenue is bundles and multi-packs.
Absolutely. Yes. It's all bundles and multi-packs. Yes.
Wow.
Not all of it. I mean, I do some singles too, but the
Right.
singles, the profit margin is pretty low on them. But somebody had said to me, oh, well, you have to get a certain percentage of ROI, or a certain percentage. Well, you suggested minimum 40%, which I definitely stick to that. I try to go higher. But what I really started to realize is that, if you spend $2 on an item and you make $2 profit, because a lot of people were like, oh, well, if I don't make $5 per item, it's not worth my time.
Mm-hmm.
But, if I only spent $2 and I made $2, that's 100% ROI. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like little lessons that I've learned is like, don't get too caught up with, I have to get this number or I'm not even going to do it, because you're still going to profit.
Yeah.
And that's all that really matters.
Absolutely. And, I agree with that philosophy on focusing on ROI. Obviously, you had a line of credit, which helps, from, new sellers that might not have access to that. The line of credit from the distributor does help. But for new sellers, if you're limited on capital, going for higher profit and higher ROI is smart, so that you can quickly or more quickly double your money, right? So if your minimum profit's $5 and your minimum ROI is 70%, well, if you can buy the same amount of products, your money, as any other seller, your money will then double and grow faster. But if you're looking from an ROI perspective, the great thing about that is that whether it's $2 and you're making $2, or it's $5 and you're making $5, ROI is consistent. And so it's an easier metric to track and to measure whenever you're making sourcing decisions. And so that's what we do as well, right? If our minimum ROI is 50%, and something costs $2 and we can make $1, as long as the shipping isn't ridiculous on that, we'll do that. And so I definitely agree with that philosophy of yours, is focusing on ROI first. The only caveat is if you're brand new and you're very limited on your capital, then trying to get higher profit and high ROI items is important, because it's necessary. But yeah, so that's really exciting. So do you do your own prep and ship, or do you have a company that's doing that for you?
Yeah, I have been doing my own prep and ship, which is why I'm working 7 days a week.
Okay.
But pretty much a good 2 full days a week is prepping. But I just hired somebody recently, actually a friend of mine, which is awesome. And she's highly OCD and highly organized, which I really appreciate. So she is working for me for probably about 15 hours a week. Okay. And helping. I've taken a short leave of absence from work, and since then my business has really exploded. And now I'm going back to work on Friday. So tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'm trying to set up systems and staffing while I'm at work to do the shipments and things. And our prep center right now is in our living room.
I understand that. Yeah. I get it.
So, and actually I'm interviewing VAs right now to hire another part-time VA to do some administrative things that are kind of tying me down, so that I don't have time to optimize my listings and take new, better photos and all that sort of stuff. Time is always a factor. And I always remember what Jim always said, do only what only you can do.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to train other people to do things that, don't take too much training, and try to focus on the things that I'm good at and I enjoy doing too.
Yeah.
So
how many people do you have under you?
Right now I have the VA, a prepper, the occasional shopper, myself, and my wife helps me too.
Okay, awesome. And then you're going to be hiring another person too. So you'll have...
And I'm going to be hiring another one too. So like I said, like my profits are going to be shrinking by, however much they shrink by. But I think it'll be worth it in the long run, because my goal is really to get out of my full-time job by June. So I have kind of a plan there to...
That's exciting.
To bring myself home.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really exciting. So you're planning. So are you doing? You said that you've got people making listings, or at least editing listings for you. Are you making your own with this?
No, actually, I want to be the one to do that. Because I was interviewing a VA, and you know what? Someone that doesn't have English as a first language, I don't think would be a good person to build listings.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not saying they couldn't do it. Their English is very good. But you know what I mean? Writing compelling copy, and also it's our culture. Like, you have to know, okay, what is our culture in Canada? It's, hockey and Tim Hortons coffee, right? So,
right. Okay, awesome. So
but I'm trying to.
Are you the one so are you doing all new listings, or are you trying to do mainly old listings that are already
No.
created? Okay.
No.
Awesome.
So my VA finds me listings that are already created. There's no way I would never have time to do all new listings. I do the odd bundle here and there, and that is challenging enough. But it's fun, and I want to practice, and I want to get better at it, so that one day I can do a private label brand, build a brand and all the rest of it. So, but the Replenish model has really given me that opportunity to build a strong foundation for a business, so that in the future I can expand into other areas.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anybody too that's interested in the Replenish course, you can go to provenamazoncourse.com/Replenish. Or if you have PAC or you're looking to get the Proven Amazon course as a whole, you just go to provenamazoncourse.com. You can get the whole course, which includes a ton of different modules for wholesale, private label, and Replenish as well is included in that. So, well, Stacey, I guess you've been doing this for 7 months now, specifically with Replenish. Do you have any specific advice or things for new sellers to watch out for that you learned from during the process?
Okay. Yes. I wanted to let new sellers know that you have to be very persistent, and you have to be able to be patient enough to take the time to sit there and scroll through listing after listing and find things. A lot of those YouTubers will tell you that, oh, you can make $1 million overnight kind of thing, but it's just not the way it works. You have to have the ambition and the patience to really settle in and figure something out. And if you laser focus on the Replenish model, it will work for you. You just have to really be patient. It kind of reminds me of something my grandma used to say to me all the time. She's gone now, but she used to say, you have to sacrifice in life. And what did she say? If you eat unbuttered bread when you're young, you'll eat buttered bread when you're old. I don't know why that always just comes up to me.
Yeah.
Really what else? Keep your eyes on the prize, and don't give up. And something I have a coach too. I joined the coaching program in the summer, and it's been invaluable. It's amazing. I don't know. I've probably spoken to 4 or 5 different coaches, and everyone's so helpful. It's fabulous. So I'd say don't be afraid to ask for help. Go on the Facebook group and post, because my Silent Team Facebook group is hands down the best help you'll ever get. Just from average people. I've made friends online, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, that is an amazing group, and I think they're close to 60,000 people, or over 60,000. I'm not sure at this point. I've been in it for 5 years, and I think it was at 20,000 back whenever we joined. So the growth in that group and the success stories has been amazing, especially for it being a free group. My Silent Team Facebook group is awesome. And also for anybody that wants to know about coaching, it's jimcockramcoaching.com. Is where you can go if you're interested in finding a coach to help walk you through that. So.
And the other thing I was going to mention is outsourcing as soon as money allows. If you want to grow, if you want to scale, you cannot do everything yourself all the time. You'll run yourself into a wall, which I've done a few times, and I've had many meltdowns, and it's just the way it goes, right?
Yeah.
But hiring someone to do sourcing for me, and I ended up finding someone for it's $250 an hour US.
Oh wow!
So,
and in the Philippines, that's a good wage. That's a good living wage.
Yeah,
right?
It is. It's not bad. I mean, I'm going to bump him up actually here pretty soon.
Perfect,
because he's done such a great job. But yeah, I mean, if I didn't have somebody sourcing for me, that was my biggest struggle, is finding the products and having the time to be able to go through. I was doing it at Word and stuff. So
yeah.
But yeah, it just takes a lot of patience.
Right. So did you go through onlinejobs.ph to
I
find a
did,
VA? Okay.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. And so a lot of times, so for people that might not know, that might be interested in outsourcing, onlinejobs.ph requires a little bit more legwork, right? Like you said, you had to do a bunch of interviews with like 10 to 15 different VAs. But a lot of
Yes.
times, because of the way their platform's set up, their hourly rate can be lower than if you go to another platform where the hourly rate's higher, because they've already vetted the virtual assistant and stuff like that for you. So, usually it ends up being about the same price that the VA is getting paid, no matter what platform you go to. It just depends
Yeah.
on, if you're paying for the additional service or not for somebody to vet that VA, or if you're going to do it yourself. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. And especially whenever you find somebody that's good, bumping them up in pay, definitely worth it.
Yes.
And
Absolutely. Yep.
yeah, um,
Bonuses.
outsourcing.
I'll give them a Christmas bonus, and yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. It's I could, like I said, I couldn't. There's no way I could have grown this fast without adding SKUs every week. You have to add
Mhm.
SKUs every single week, because quite often, and this is another thing I would like to mention too, is that you know it happens very often that I'll put a listing on. I'll piggyback on a listing, something that's already been listed, but it only has like one or two sellers, and then I'll get on it and I'll sell everything immediately, which is
Mhm.
great, and I'll go to restock it and there's like 15 or 18 sellers and they're trying to tank the price.
Wow.
So it happens way too often.
Mhm.
However, they you can't get caught up in that and get depressed and quit, because it's going to happen. It's just the way it's business, and you got to keep going and keep adding SKUs, because it will level itself out. And you might not stick on one SKU for a long time. You might just pause on it for a while and let everybody run out of stock, or wait for the prices to kind of rebound and then buy some more. Or you might just say, oh well, if the single sold really well, I'm going to create a 2-pack or a 3-pack and go out
Mhm.
and create a new listing. And because people are kind of lazy and they don't want to do it, and they don't want to pay a prep center to do it for them.
Mhm.
So like here in Canada, the closest prep center to me is in Vancouver, and they charge $4.80 to do a bundle, no matter how many items are in it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there's no way you could profit if you had to pay that.
No.
So
Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, and one thing too, I also want to mention, I mean, you said patience is the number one thing. And, we talk about that in the course for a reason, because while, replens might be simple, like the methodology behind it is pretty simple. It's not easy. It does
mhm.
require work and determination and persistence, which you've shown the whole time, which is amazing. And to see your growth. I mean, we've had just recently yourself and Maria Hinton both explode
Yes.
replens in the Canadian marketplace too, which is extremely exciting for me to see multiple other marketplaces having success with the replens model too. So anybody that's international, that's out there, that's trying to start an Amazon business, a good base place to start is with replens, just because of the success stories that have come from pretty much every marketplace, or at least most of the marketplaces that I can think of out there. So yeah, that's really, really awesome. Well, Stacey, thank you so much for being on here with me. Is there anything else that you'd want to, I guess, leave the listeners with before we jump off?
Um, well, I'll leave them with something my coach just told me the other day, which I'm going to give his advice. But he said to schedule your downtime,
Okay.
like into your calendar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because and that's one thing, it's hard for me to stop. I just go, go, go. I work until 11 o'clock at night, and then I fall down, and then I wake up 6 hours later and go again.
Mhm.
So but yeah, I think I'm going to start doing that now.
Good.
Taking time for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so
But
necessary.
it is, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I just say, go get it. Don't give up. Keep trying. Follow Jimmy's advice,
Mm.
and follow the PAC course. It has been a life-changing experience for us, and for my family. And like I said, within by June, we're both, my wife and I are both going to be home full time doing Amazon.
Wow.
and outsourcing, and we're talking about getting a warehouse, and it's very, very exciting, and it's fun, and you get addicted to it. So yeah, I just say keep going.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And definitely scheduling downtime is important. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs especially struggle with that, right? Even if, you're working another job and you come home and work on this, you forget to take care of yourself a lot of times and take care of your family. And so that's extremely important. So I'm glad that that's the piece of advice your coach gave you, and also one that, hopefully you'll take to heart and start doing, like you said, you plan to do. So
yes,
it's so important. Awesome. Well, Stacey, thank you so much for being on here. I'm excited for everybody to get to hear your story and get to hear what you've done in an incredibly short amount of time with Replenish, and excited to see where you go, and you being back home in June. So thanks so much, Stacey.
Thank you so much, Jim. We appreciate everything you do for the group.
Thank you. You have a good one.